we are so glad to have you here. As people start hopping on, I am just going to get right to it because we have kind of an action-packed session today. My name is Jenny Anchondo, and I'm just delighted to welcome you to another SARE virtual event. So if you don't already know, our speaker is actually a repeat from last week with a totally different topic. So if you were there for Maria Santi's presentation last week, it was just really information packed, and this time we're honing in and getting a little bit more specific and talking about the ABCs of food trucks. And I have to just share a bit of her credentials so you just know where she's coming from. She's actually the bilingual minority outreach director of the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce. So that's here in Texas, but her knowledge base really is one that is vast and will be serving to many different communities. So her passion is building bridges between different businesses and communities, and she's been able to be successful because she's able to navigate and negotiate these things in a really incredibly unique way. So now what she does is she teaches business people how to do this. On a personal note, she's also a mother of two. She has a sweet dog, and she is quite well educated, studied law both in the United States and Mexico. So she's busy, but she's giving us a little bit of her time today to talk about food trucks. And I found it really interesting just to learn that she's somebody who saw a need, that there are so many businesses and individuals and just creative people out there that are wanting to kind of put a restaurant on wheels or serve people in a different way. So she dug deep and researched and figured out sort of the best practices. And even if that's not on your radar, maybe it will be after today. So without further ado, we welcome in Maria Santi. Good to see you, Maria.
We have a very nice road to travel today, and here we go. So this is our presentation about ABC for food trucks in the state of Texas. Remember that anything that might be different or anything that sounds to you out of place in this presentation, maybe it's because you want to open a business not in the state of Texas, maybe in another one in the US, but my recommendation is always for you to abide by the laws of your state, your city, and your county. Here we go. Okay, so first of all, what's the idea? What do you want to do? What do you want to sell? What do you want to provide? What is that part of your service that is so unique that it's gonna be the best from everywhere? What is that makes you different from others? It is a special spice that you are going to add to the product. It is a special decoration. Are you a master in presentation? I don't know. You have to find out what is going to be that service that we cannot find out there in order to for you to be the best product served on a food truck. Remember that a food truck goes everywhere. You only pick up everything, put your hands on the steering wheel, and then you must go. You can go. So think about how many times you will find on the road the same services as you provide, or think about how specific, how different is going to be your service and your product, that no matter what you have decided to park that truck, is going to be the one and only. Have you thought about maybe a treats for dogs? Have you thought about probably something Cajun food on the road? What about prepare your own cupcake food truck? Things like that. I mean, I've seen so many delicious products. It's not only about hamburgers, tacos, and I don't know, funnel cakes. There are so many ideas, so fun ideas that you can use in order to have that product that it's gonna make you different from the others. Now, what do you have in your pocket? What's your budget? Normally, I receive this question a lot. How much does it cost to buy a food truck? Okay, well, depends. If you're gonna buy a new one, you can go probably in between the 40 or the $60,000. Some trucks, they are a little bit more expensive. You can buy a used one by 20, or Why don't you start with a trailer? Why don't you start with something smaller and have a little bit of more budget for all the specific things that your trailer is going to use? Or what if you start little by little in order to get to the food truck? The food truck, it is I like to call it like the idea in which all the business and all the product is going to kind of be the cherry on top of the cake. Why? Because sometimes you have to start with a tent. You have to start probably with a trailer. You have to start on something small to see that if a business on wheels is for you. So maybe you don't need to spend $40,000, $60,000 on buying a super duper food truck with all the equipment, with everything that it needs to start, when you don't really know exactly not even what is the product, where do you want to park it, if you are only going to be covering special events or any kind of different service that you might reach out. So think about what do you want and the budget that you have for that. Remember that there are so many different places where you can get a food truck. If you don't want to buy it new, you can look for a used one. I've seen so many good food trucks that they are secondhand, and unfortunately the first and only owner couldn't make it work. But what if you have the opportunity to make this your dream business on wheels? Okay, so I was telling you about the business on wheels or tent. What is a tent? Well, a tent is that kind of mobile business that also is known as mobile food unit that you are going to place in a carnival, in probably the state fair, probably if there is an expo or a farmer's market, anything in where you're just gonna be like you're gonna leave the pop-up effect, and you are not exactly going to drive to get there. Well, drive to get there, yes, but you are not gonna be driving a food truck. What you're going to set up, it is a tent. So think about that every city is different. Every city. Here in the Metroplex in Dallas-Fort Worth, happens that the city of Prairie has some regulations and have some specific rules that the city of Arlington do not have. We are different from Dallas, so obviously every city has their specific rules. So you have to be aware if you are traveling around, if you are taking your tent around different festivals, the county and the city where that event you are going to land at, what kind of specific rules and permits for mobile units have. Be careful of that, because what we don't want is for you to get a fine when you haven't even opened, has started to sell or open the door for business. So sometimes people say, well, what if I don't do very well at the spot that I have that I have chosen? Well, it's easy. Pick it up and go. Pick it up, call over the phone. I don't know, maybe some retailer spaces, some malls. You can call and ask the management if it's okay for you to park over there. You can call in advance or contact so many different, I don't know, gas stations, small shopping centers, in where you can find out if it's okay for you to park the food truck over there, or to place the tent during that event over there. The most important thing is for you to know that not every place is the same one, that every place is different. You don't know who drives by, who probably the number of parking spots that they are going to be around the area where you're going to park, or how many attendees is going an event have as future clients for your tent, or the services that you will be providing. It is very important for you to do not give up. Sometimes we park in a huge place with 1,000 of cars and parking spots, and it seems to be the ideal place to do business, and you might not sell anything. It might be different. What you have to know is to be ready to pack up and go. If that was not a good place, just start over here and there until you get to that place that you know that it has been the best for you and yourself and your sales. Now, remember that I told you about the start product. Make that product that no matter where you are, people are going to start looking for you, or people are going to start missing you when you don't attend that festival, or when you are not parked in that specific place. Make that star product so unique that people will love to follow you wherever you go. Okay. um, Remember that we humans, we are visual. We want to see, so food calls color by itself. So please be aware to use eye-catching ads. It's okay if you use something, like, I don't know, maybe just a piece of colored paper, but the most imagination and the most creative that you are in on your ads, that will serve completely food to the eyes first. And remember, we are visual, and the first thing that we want to try is something that it's catching our eyes and that it looks so delicious. So please do not miss the opportunity to also have more clientele through a different sense that is not going to be the taste. Okay. What about a spectacular offer? Two for the price of one, 3 pounds for the price of two. Buy two paletas and get one bag of I don't know, chicharrones, something like that. If you're gonna be selling all the Latino food, make a spectacular offer that will lead more clients, and obviously that is going to reflect more money in your pocket. Okay, remember that you are trading with hungry people, and that is what you want to get the most benefit to you through the need of the other people. Remember that our needs and the kind of food that we like probably is not going to be the same one as the one that the people will need around you. But you have to be convinced, and you have to know that what you are preparing is going to be so delicious that the other people will like as well. Remember that trading with hunger, it's one of the specific points for you to have in mind every time that you set up a new menu, or every time that you set up an offer, or every time that you are going to do that spectacular ad that is going to be eye-catching to the people that you will serve. So it's very important for you to be aware of different rules. Hygiene rules are the most important, and those are so unique on each county and on each city as well, that you have to check it on each city, okay? But in general, if you do not comply with some of the hygiene rules, you are not going to get a pre-licensing, or you are not going to get the license at the end. So this is something very important to you. For you, you have to know and be aware of the preparation area. You have to be aware of the servicing area, the water tank, the potable water tank, the water that is waste retention tank, in this case for a food truck. There are so many differences between hot and cold water. So that kind of things, also the hand wash sink, it is not important. It is not specific that your food truck must to have a toilet inside of it or a bathroom inside of it. It's not, but it's necessary for it to be in a certain distance where you or your employees, whenever that they need to go to the bathroom, it is going to be accessible for them. So that's another thing that also you have to keep in mind. Remember that in regards of marketing, there are some cities that they do not allow certain colors in their marketing. They do not allow certain images. So I've seen cities that they are very well known for its tradition and also for its cultural value, that they do not allow any kind of food truck to put anything light up that is not black and white. So you have to be aware of all that in order to avoid fines, okay? In Texas, there are many rules in regards of food establishments. Of course, you have to be aware that what you have is a mobile vehicle, and also is known as a mobile food unit. And for that, you will have to comply with different rules. The rules are on the Texas Food Establishment Rules, the TFER, TFER. Everything about food trucks, you are going to find it over there. Also, the application for the business licensing and verification for this kind of mobile food units. In general, what do you need? The DBA, remember, or the LLC, the EIN, and obviously your Texas sales permit. Sometimes you might apply for a Texas Comptroller of Public Account, but what you definitely need is a tax ID for sales. That's very important. Some of the main things that you will find on the TFER, it is the definition of your food truck. Number one, if it's mobile at all times, if it's going to be like protected, how you have to have the windows. You probably will have to see the measures of them. Which colors are you going to be allowed to use for your food truck? Also, what kind of screens and what kind of how many windows in fact you will have to have. If it's a push cart, the push cart is also a mobile food unit, okay? El paletero, the ice cream push cart that we know in our culture, that's also a mobile food unit and also needs a permit. And let's say that you have a hot dogs mobile food unit, but it's just the push cart. It's okay, but you also have to comply with these rules. On that, it's very specific that it has to have an overhead protection. Sometimes you see them, oh, that's an umbrella. Well, yes, it's an umbrella, but it's known in the code as the overhead protection, okay? Also, what is very important, and I did mention this a little bit, it's about the water. Water, the subject of water for a food truck, it's so broad. Why? Because you have to comply with rules in regard of hot and cold water. If it's potable water, if it's not, if it's a waste water, you have to label everything, and you have to have separate containers and retention tanks for everything. Also, if you are going to have a sink, okay, you have to have a 3-compartment sink, and each of the compartments shall be large enough to clean all your utensils. And where is gonna be the water coming from that? Obviously from the potable water or the sewer that the city is gonna have for available. But for all this, you have to be very careful on the compliance with this area. Also, as talking about equipment, that also is in the Texas Food Establishment Rules, you will have to be aware on presenting that kind of equipment that is stainless steel. If it's gonna be wood, You have to comply with certain with established equipment rules. It's not any kind of equipment. It's not the equipment that probably you saw in one store. They have to comply with rules. Remember, this is very important. There is what is known as the commissary office in small cities, like Grand Prairie has a commissary office. This is the office where you are going to go every single day to prepare your food, to clean up your food, your food truck, and also to prepare everything that you are going to sell. You are not allowed, in this case, to prepare anything at home and just bring it as it is and put it on your food truck and serve it from there. That is not going to happen. What you have to do is to go to the commissary office, prepare everything there, and then you have to, you are ready to go on the road and continue your sales and go and park and start your sales. Everything gotta be prepared at the commissary office. Everything gotta be cleaned up at this office as well. Some other states, what they do is allow you to have a central preparation facility inside of the food truck or in another office, okay? You have to check the rules of your state for that. And pretty much what the central preparation facility is that establishment, or is that place that is being approved and where you are going to prepare the food. This location is going to help you to prepare your food truck with all the liquids, water that you might need in the process of preparation of food or serving the food while you are doing business. Sometimes this central preparation facility is owned by another organization, another business. You cannot, as a mobile food unit operator, you cannot own a central preparation facility in case that it's out of in another area. Obviously, you have to comply with some rules, and you cannot be at the same time the person that is going to be giving you the authorization for that. In this case, also we have the servicing area. The servicing area, it is that place in where you're going to be able to clean your vehicle. It's kind of the same thing, the three offices that I'm telling you about, but in some areas, again, it's called differently. So the servicing area is where you're gonna be cleaning your food truck. You're gonna be discharging any kind of liquid or solid waste that might come out from during the day. And also, this is very important. The servicing area is not gonna be, cannot be a private place, let's say in your home, or let's say in living quarters. It's not going to be like that. It got to be in a separate area, because of course it's a matter of hygiene and also preparation for all the products that will be sold at the food truck. Again, if you would like to attend special events and some places only, what you have to check, it is directly with the person who is responsible for the event. Why? Because sometimes the person that is responsible for the Taste of Grand Prairie, let's say, she or he will have more opportunities for you to comply with all the requirements of the food department on each city, depending if it's a huge festival or if it's an expo. Sometimes the person in charge has more ability, or it has a little bit of making it easier for you to comply with the temporary food permits, and also for the license that you might need. Remember that on all these cases, you will have to provide an insurance. It's not only like, okay, I'm gonna sell food and that's it. No, you will have to provide an insurance of your services, commercial insurance. And some places they charge you by hour. Some places charge you by the whole event. Or maybe if it's if it's an event that happens currently every week, every 2 weeks, I don't know, they might charge you a rent per month. What you want to be aware it is if this event is going to be private or public. Why? Because if it is private and then it results that the company that you are that it's promoting this event, they already have liability. They might be covering you, but that doesn't let you out of any kind of responsibility that comes out from the sale of your product. So this is something very important. If it's public, like in a city or in a county, obviously you will have to look forward to talk to the person that is responsible of the event in order to comply with all the licenses. So in regards to application for the health permits, you need to check the cost, the payment. You will need obviously your DBA, your business name, the address and phone number of the person who's responsible or the owner of the food truck. What is what it looks like, the food truck operations, what are the times, what are you looking for to provide during the event. They are going to ask you questions about fried foods, if they are carbonated drinks, if there is alcohol drinks. Why? Because you need specific permits for each kind of these drinks as well. Also, if you have prepackaged foods, that's one of the easiest foods that you might sell in your food truck. But obviously, we want to prepare that kind of food that is specific to us and that is going to represent our business. So for that, you will have to comply with a little bit of more rules. Also, the health permit is going to ask about, it's going to inquire about the types of utensils that you're going to use, the size of the knives, the size of the pots that you might be using, the kind of oil, the kind of temperature that you're gonna be using. If it's over 120 degrees, if it's above 47, so many specific things. And but don't be afraid. This is too much information, I know, but believe me, once that you start working on this, it becomes easier. And whatever that I'm saying right now, it is not as complicated as it is in the in the reality. So what you also can do is to rent a commercial kitchen. A commercial kitchen is that place that it's going to rent you the stoves, the utensils, everything, everything inside. It's like a kitchen that you might have in your house. So they're gonna rent you this per hour or per day or per event in case that you are providing lessons. And anything that comes out from that place, it has already a license. It already has oh my gosh, I forgot the word. It's not gonna make you liable. It has kind of an insurance, let's call it like that. It's not like that, but let's call it like that. And what it's gonna help you with is that this is a good idea if you're starting to sell food and maybe you have a tent and you just want to place everything ready for people to start buying from you. Go and use the commercial kitchens because they have everything at your disposition. They have pots, they have utensils, they have blenders, they have commercial ovens, freezers. I've seen this wonderful refrigerators that, believe it or not, they can froze something in seconds, from high temperature to lower temperature, and it's amazing. And as I have said, they already have the license, so you only need to obviously deal with the packaging, and then once that it's ready, you only take that out of the commercial kitchen and it is ready for sale. So this is the list. This is the list that normally every city, every county asks you in regards of being prepared to have for your food truck. It's let's call it the checklist. Okay, have you checked if your food truck complies with a drinking water source, a water tank, the 3-room wash basin and its elements, hot and cold food handling equipment. We talk about dangerous food. Dangerous food, it's not food that is going to explode, right? But it's food that probably could be for like that could be for people that they have some allergies. So that's the kind of food that you will have to let people know. Okay, this contains nuts. This contains milk product, dairy product. So that kind of food you have to be aware of, let people know that your food contains that. Also be aware of the central preparation, the service area, to have your food handling certificate. This is very important. Remember that it's very easy. You just comply with it. You might comply with it online. It's not going to take you more than 3 or 4 hours, and then you get your certificate, and that gotta be on a visual place with all your license at the time that the inspector is ready for to pass and see if you comply with everything as in your food truck. You gotta check the plumbing and connection, the pest and insects. Remember that that's very important. And to see if your equipment is not non-corrosive materials. All this is what I call the checklist for your food trucks. Okay, if you don't want to deal with a food truck, there's so many ways now that you can keep selling food and have the opportunity for your clients to have it at their door. Just remember that you have to be responsible with this apps, with these companies, that they are companies as well, in regards of payments, contracts, to see how everything is going to work, who's going to be the liability of what, and pretty much how your customers are going to be served. Finally, this is pretty much the like the general road that you will have to go through, which is the application, submit your application, get all the permits, and get an insurance. Once that I stop sharing this presentation, I'm going to show you the application that the state of Texas, that the Health and Human Services Department here in Texas has, for you to have an idea on what is going to ask you in that application in order to get the permit. You can get more information for the state of Texas in this website. Obviously, the Secretary of State, the Texas Department of State Health Services, the IRS, the CPA, and I did place my our website, the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce website, and the City of Grand Prairie website as well. And I hope that this information was helpful to you. And if you have any question, I will be very glad to answer it. I just need to stop this sharing, and let me go ahead and share the application really quick. Are we okay on time?
Yeah, we're doing great. Definitely show the application. I think that's going to be helpful and bring perspective for a lot
Yes,
of people. Definitely stand
okay,
for that.
so let me see, I think it's this one. There you go. Okay, so this is application in the state of Texas. As you can see, there is a non-refundable fee, so be careful with that. Once that you pay, that's it. So you have to provide your business name. You have to provide the physical address, the city, the county, the zip code, all the information about the business, telephone, where it's gonna be located at, if it's within the city limits. If you have a tax exemption, let's say that you're a 501c3. The fee normally it is $258 in Texas, okay, for each unit. If I have 3 food trucks, of course, I'm gonna pay $258 per each. Okay, what kind of mobile food unit I am? If I am a school food establishment, if I am a roadside food vendor, if I am mobile food unit, anything like that. This is very important. If you already have your permit, but you have not renewed it, and you are late on the renewal, there is a fee of $100 because you let it expire and you did not renew your permit on time, okay? So this, of course, we need the vehicle identification serial number, the plates, the number of the truck or unit in case that you have more than one, the description of the vehicle, the model, the year, size, color. You gotta specify what kind of foods you're going to sell, okay? And if you have prepare everything at a CPF. This is where you have to fill out the place, the name, and the permit of the CPF where you have prepared all your food. Okay, then you have to swear about the information that you are providing. Okay, and then here, obviously, you gotta you have to mention if it's an initial permit, if it's a renewal, if you are changing the ownership, anything that has changed. Let's say that I changed the name, I changed the location, I changed the owner, anything that has to do with changes as well, you have to use this. You have to use this form as well. Who's the responsible person, the hours of operation, anything in regards of online marketing, such as the website, mailing information. Okay, in this case, in Texas, you only have the chance to send this by correspondence only, okay? Here's the address in Texas. Everything is in Austin, Texas. Okay. As I was telling you, they are going to ask you about your taxpayer identification number, your EIN number as well. If you are a sole owner, or if it's a partnership, what kind of partnership it is. If it's an LLP, if it's an LP. Driver's license, why? Because we're driving a business on wheels, right? Okay. Also, if it's part of a corporation, if it's part of an LLC. And that's it. Once that you have filled out all that permit, you might submit it, in this case, to the Texas Health and Human Services. to get your license, but remember that you still have to pass a pre-licensing inspection, and you have to comply with all the checklists that I gave you before. Any kind of information about food trucks that I probably missed to give you today, you might find it on the Texas Health and Human Services website in the state of Texas. Of course, if you live in, let's say, Oklahoma, California, any other state, just type California Health and Human Services Department, and it will show up all the information about food trucks. Okay, the equipment and criteria, it might be different depending on the type of operation. Every state, every city, every county has different rules, remember, okay? But anything that you might have in regards of requirement, more information about that, if I have not given it to you in this presentation, please reach out to us or look at the Health and Human Services Department on your state. All right.
You are awesome, Maria. Thank you for doing so much research so that the rest of us can learn from you. It's much appreciated, and I can only imagine if somebody's, wanting to do this, that you've cut down the time significantly for them to get from point A to point B. So now we start the question part. And I know some of you have already posted questions. If you have other questions or things pop up, feel free to send it to me or post it in the chat, and we will get those answered here with the last 15 minutes that we have. So the first thing that somebody asked about was, can you write down the website for the Texas food rules? So I don't know if maybe that's Health and Human Services, or perhaps if that's a different site.
That's the Health and Human Services website. Do you
Okay.
want me to type it?
Oh no. Oh, I can.
Okay, okay, thank you.
So yes, just in case somebody's wondering for spelling and stuff. So that'll be, you guys. I know that everybody's watching from different parts of the country, so you'd want to look up Health and Human Services as it relates to your state. So
Right.
the example for Texas, but that sounds like this will correlate elsewhere. So this is a really good question from Charlena. She's in Missouri. She says, with COVID-19, how hard will it be to get a license for a food truck? And she's wondering if there will be any special procedures that they'll need to take, or special protocols.
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. Yes, there are specific protocols that you must follow. The number one is everybody has to be healthy. If not vaccinated, everybody must be healthy, and you have to provide proof of it. Anything that you will have to use for your food, it has to go on small packages. Anything. Let's say that you're going to provide mayonnaise, or you're providing paprika, or I don't know, and sunflower seeds, anything gotta be prepackaged. So that makes a little bit of more difficult the process. They are still providing licenses, yes, but you have to comply with a little bit of more, specific rules in regard of the, also on the liquid waste retention tank. Anything about the water tank and the servicing area, it's been a little bit more specific. And of course, this, because the government wants us to be healthy, and there are some areas where they do not allow more than a certain number of food trucks. And of course, you have to comply with serving the food and having people lining up with certain distance. All the people in the food truck, no matter what, gotta wear masks, gotta wear the gloves. That's a must. Even if we were not on COVID-19 protocols, you have to wear your nets, your hair nets, face mask, gloves, and many other things that you will have to check. There are specific guidelines in regards of COVID-19 in all the health departments, and also environmental services. Check on the environmental services page on your city. a department on your city, and they have many, many restrictions and many different, like requirements nowadays due to the COVID-19.
Okay, that's really helpful. And I imagine, it's part of factoring that into costs too, right? There's going to just be during this season some different costs associated with whether it's masking or sanitizing or distancing as much as you can in a little food truck, all that sort of thing. We got another question, and I think this is a good one too. You gave us so much information about where to go and what to do. Is there a checklist anywhere online with that, you can check off, okay, I need this license, this permit, food handler, health business
Yes,
licenses?
yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, well, in the state of Texas, it is on dshs.texas.gov. And you might type food establishments or food trucks or food tents, anything food, mobile food units, let's say, and then everything is gonna appear in the website.
Okay, great. And I posted that in the chat, and I know many of you are not in Texas, but that would be similar for whatever state you're in. You can search for that same type of thing.
Yes.
When we talk about some of these maybe smaller establishments or startups that maybe came from a family recipe. Let's say somebody, oh my gosh, my mom's salsa is the best. We've always talked about selling it. We want to do that somehow. Um, does somebody have to go through a food service provider or go to like this bulk food store in order to buy it, or can they, are there regulations on that sort of thing and where they source if they're starting out small?
Do you mean the source of produce?
Yes, yes.
Not necessarily, but what the regulation will start from is on the moment that you are preparing it. Yes. So as soon as you start the preparation process, the the license comes to life, let's say, because we can buy, I don't know, from a wholesale producer, we can buy from organic producer, we can buy anywhere, right? Obviously, each of them has complied with the FDA rules before, so we don't have to be so attached to that, but definitely your responsibility and the time that you have to start complying with licenses and rules is at the time that your hands are starting preparing the food.
That's really helpful. Yeah, I think people would wonder, okay, can I just go to my Walmart or do I need to go to this big food service supply all of a sudden and spend all this money? So that's great to know. Is there a timeline or an amount of time that can be expected to be spent from like the moment that you have the idea, okay, I want to go into this business or I want to tiptoe into this business to actually having a food truck open? Is it like you can do this in a week, a month, 2 years? What's the kind of time frame?
You know what? The entrepreneurship road, it takes as longer as you decide to face it. Because sometimes it might take you 3 months, it might take you 3 years. I don't think that it's going to take you a week. Definitely it's not. But the more time that you hesitate to start is going to be the same time that you are going to lose on preparing that wonderful product that you have for the world. Remember that talking about time frames, it's easy, right? Whenever that I say, okay, I'm gonna be spending 8 hours every day in this idea or opening the business. We might sell times, but that is not going to be real. That is not going to be real. It all depends if you as an entrepreneur have another job. Probably you have if you're a mother of two, maybe you have so many things to do as a mom and you want to become a mompreneur, which is fantastic. But obviously everything has to settle with the time that you have in your real life. What I know for sure is that the permit for your food truck gotta be ready in between 3 or 5 weeks.
Okay, that's helpful to know. Yeah, everybody's coming from a different place. Some people can go in full time, some people have got a couple hours a day, maybe 30 minutes a day to pour into it. So it'll be a different timeline. Is there any one thing that you have seen in this particular part of business that has differentiated those who succeed versus those who don't? And succeeding meaning that they're staying open and continuing to do business.
In regards of food trucks, let me tell you something. We have enough hamburgers. We have enough tacos. We have enough, um, I forgot the name of this food. I'm so sorry. We have so many ideas out there. Don't try to bring another one that is the same unless it is fantastic and it's gonna be completely different and it's gonna be rocket science for the person who has that first bite. Unless it's like that, go ahead and do it. But if you're gonna be providing the same thing, the same taco, the same hamburger, we don't need that anymore. And today we're not on the times that everybody used to sell tamales because tamales was the best idea and every Latino liked tamales. It's not that time anymore. The entrepreneurship time has changed, and now you have to plan. You have to think about many different things before doing what your brother, what your friend, what your neighbor is doing. Because if they have success, they've been successful, that doesn't mean that it's gonna happen the same for you. Okay?
And I want to piggyback on that same question. Do you find that, and I love that you're saying that, although I don't know if there can ever be enough tacos, but that's just me. But but yeah, find your niche, find your what makes you individual. Do they tend to do better when they have like one product, like popsicles, or do they tend to do better when they have many different offerings within the same truck?
Okay. The first struggle that I've seen on food trucks that they have 30 products is that every single product, every single menu, it's gotta be approved. So you have 10 products. The 10 products gotta go through the license process by itself. What kind of products are you using for this one? In which temperature you're gonna serve this other one? Does this one has a dangerous food or not? Each of them and all the menus that you provide are gonna have a different process. So for that, it looks fantastic in your mind to have 30 products, right? And I'll say that's great. But at the time that you're going to apply that to reality, wow, it's very difficult. So why don't you have 6 products the most? And that's only a recommendation. But one of them is the star product. One of them, no matter what, is gonna be the recipe of your legacy, and you're gonna keep it in secret. It's gonna be your Burger King recipe, okay? Why? Because that is going to be the one that is going to be prevailing among the years and among generations, and doing everything, such a successful thing for you and your food truck. Sometimes we get lost on the idea that we start with. So if we're gonna have this food truck of treats for dogs, let's say, okay, now I'm gonna have treats for cats, and now I'm gonna have treats for, I don't know, rabbits. It's not that. Be Keep your essence. Keep your essence. That's very important. Yes, be creative, but don't overwhelm your own menu. I don't recommend that.
Don't overwhelm your own menu. I love that advice. Now,
Mhm.
when we talk about restaurants, we talk about a standalone facility. If you talk about a food truck, it's like a mobile thing that has to work. Somebody's asking if you recommend having a second truck and what what happens if one breaks down. That sounds like it would be expensive, but what would you say?
Um, Everybody in life has to have a plan B. So if the first one breaks down, yes, why not to have a second one? But have fun with the first one first. and be prepared with the first one first. And if you see that it's sustainable, that it's providing enough money, and it doesn't need you 24/7 to run, then you are ready to get a second one. Because sometimes what the entrepreneur says, I'm going to open my own business. For what? To forget about my boss, to forget about my job, because I don't want to be working 40 hours. Well, guess what? You're going to be working 120. You're not going to have only one boss. You're going to have 1,000 or 500, or the people that you are going to be serving your specialty. All that customers are your boss now. Why? Because they are going to decide if you are good, if you deserve a recommendation, if your food is going to be the number one in the area. And for that, you have to be ready to work a lot. So if your business, your food truck number one is ready, it's settled, it is settled, and it can go by itself, get a second one. But don't get a second one if you do not have the time, the experience, and the budget to do that.
What I'm hearing you say is that this entrepreneurial journey is just so in line with any other, and that is that you can't escape the work and you can't escape the workload or the external pressures.
Right, right. And sometimes people ask me, so what is easier, to open a restaurant or to have a food truck? Both. The only difference is that with a restaurant, you cannot pack up and go to find another place. With the food truck, you can. But with the restaurant, you are not traveling, you are not spending gas, you are not complying with different cities. But with a food truck, you can choose wherever you want to go, to one state to another one. I've seen so many trucks traveling interstate, but obviously rules are very important here. You can do that. You can work in so many places, but a restaurant or a food truck requires of compliance with different things.
Maria Santi from the Grand Prairie Chamber, you have been wonderful. Thank you for putting together this presentation. It was really fascinating, really interesting. I hope that you all learned as much as I did during this. And I wanted to remind everybody, she was actually our guest last week, and it was all about how to get going with an LLC. So if you missed that one, but are here for this one and thinking about doing the food truck, it might be great to go back and look at that. So all you have to do to find that episode, it's out on YouTube. So just search Said National, and you see it, the spelling of it right up there on the screen, SER and then national, and you'll be able to find all the past episodes. It's a really robust presentation that will kind of take you through the steps. Here's the deal, you guys. We are going to do this again next Thursday, same time, same place, and we look forward to continuing to enrich everybody's lives. Thanks to Sarah for putting this together, and we will talk to everybody soon. Bye.